Hello and welcome to this new video. So we've got the most OP jungle champion ever, honestly. This champion is going to avoid nerfs for quite a while. They might nerf him in the middle of the year, but then in preparation for Worlds, they'll probably put him right back up. Restore his power as per usual, because I think over in China, they love champions like Lee Sin, they love the Graves, Fiddle, a bunch of these, like Talon especially. Maybe it's influenced by skins, but and culture for sure. But over here in North America, I feel like a lot of people don't actually play the Lee Sin. Now the problem with this is this champion is really, really strong. And I feel like the reason why people don't play Lee Sin as much is just because I think over the years, with Lee Sin being a really, really early champion, um, new players that come in and play jungle, they they get baited into like Graves or Kindred or Kane, some of these other champions. Now, from their perspective, they're thinking, "Oh, wow, this is a cool game," and they have a huge cast of junglers, and I want to play the strongest because everyone wants to play the strongest. Everyone wants to get high elo, right? So maybe that's why Lee Sin has gone under the radar for a lot of people, which is why I think Lee Sin won't ever get nerfed that hard because people are bad at Lee Sin. Isn't that a funny concept where it's like a champion could technically be strong, but so long as the player base doesn't know how to use the champion, it could almost never come out that, yo, actually this champion's strong, right? Maybe it'll never become apparent. So that's an interesting thing. Oh, I should have done that. That's an interesting idea to kind of take advantage of. The fact that a lot of people won't be good at something or might not be familiar with something. I feel like everyone's familiar with Lee Sin. It's just maybe they don't know how to play him. But as long as you know how to do a couple of tricks, right? Like insecting people, as in jumping behind them and then kicking them. As long as you know how to do that, like you can get away with Lee Sin. This is another concept of like skill floor, right? What can you get away with only a couple of games of Lee Sin? You can get away with a lot because this champion has a ton of combat prowess, right? I mean, so much damage so early. And the biggest part, most people will be like, oh, it's because he's got two damaging abilities and they're really strong, the Q and the E. But really, it's like his auto attacking. The fact that you get a ton of attack speed for free just allows you to put out more autos than your opponent, right? And then you have that kind of like kill threshold of landing the Q, and it's a surefire hit, right? Unless they have some sort of displacement, like if they're a Gragas. So, okay, I cleared in reverse, almost as if I were the Ivern. So I can go bot side here. A little bit of a slower clear. But yeah, like if you're familiar with Lee Sin, right, you can definitely do a lot more than you would be able to had you're playing another champion, right? Because other champions require a little bit of mastery, right? There's like this kind of mastery curve where if you put on, let's say, like 5 games of Lee Sin, you might do X amount of work. See if I can sneak a Q here. Ooh, that would have been nice. Ah, now why? Okay, I mean my laners got kills without me even having to do anything, but that's nice. That's fine. Whatever. Okay, so why is this champion OP? Because of the build, honestly. Not only does this champion have inherent power, but the build. In Season 14, everyone knows Sundered Sky, Eclipse, really good. Now, my biggest issue with people is when they play this build, they don't go Ingenious Hunter. Ingenious Hunter lowers your Eclipse from 6 to 4, and it lowers the passive cooldown per champion on the Sundered Sky. It's ridiculously powerful, right? If you're playing for this kind of like massive effective HP through shielding and healing, why don't you just lower the cooldown of the thing that gives you shielding and healing, right? Oh, there we go, nice. So we're gonna try to path for the. I think he didn't do the crab, right? He showed up on the bot side. We should just be looking for this. Nice. Don't know if we quite get level 5, but we could also invade. This guy took it back. Let me just see if I can sneak a little bit of this. Oh, he just took it. Just took it. Okay. Wait around and I'll queue over. See if this guy's coming over. No? Okay. Save your E, wait for all these things to get low. Boom. That's like a nice plus 10. I'm not going to smite on the first one. If he wards, then I will immediately smite. Otherwise, save your ward. Or sorry, save your smite. Ideally, smiting when you have to is what's up. Also, when it comes to the grubs, the very first grub that you take is really important. So if it's a case where like you might need to leave and go do something on the map, right? Let's say you respond to a lane, you don't have to finish all the grubs. Just getting one grub is already a lot of value. It's not like it scales linearly. Like one grub gives you 50 points of value, two grubs gives you 100. It's more like one grub gives you like 50, and then the second and third one give you like maybe 10 or 20 each. You want to think of it that way. We can maybe go. Nah. They're getting ganked. Sucks. Might as well just path and farm. Oh, what the hell? I'll do some damage here, maybe? Just for the guy. You wanna go? That's up to you, really. I was just helping this guy get his freeze, if he wanted to freeze. Okay, nice. So, when it comes to the choice between going Sundered Sky first, or Eclipse first, this is the same choice as Jarvan, right? Like, Sundered Sky giving healing makes it almost infinitely better than Eclipse. The reason why is because healing is permanent, while shielding is, temporary. But this is a little bit short-sighted because it would entirely depend, right? In general, yes, you would want the health. But because it's like pretty context-dependent, right? Where it's like, maybe you need the more powerful shield initially to survive a burst and the lower cooldown as well. Also the fact that like against one person you can only proc the Sundered Sky once, but against two people you can maybe proc it twice. Like they're obviously different contexts, so what the hell? Give me W at least, yeah. Ooh, okay, I had to dodge there. He took my thing. He stole... Okay, whatever. But in a lot of cases, because of how solo queue is, because of the nature of solo queue, I would honestly say that Eclipse is probably the better item to rush, simply because it's cheaper. It achieves pretty much the same thing, right? Although Sundered Sky would be like super nice, I feel like in a lot of cases, unless you're like killing everyone and you're getting a ton of gold, you're super accelerated, because it's not just about how much gold you have, it's about how much gold you have relative to your opponent. If you have 2,000 gold and they have 2,000 gold, but then they build an item that is like 2,200 and they hit their spike earlier, they might not cap out higher than you, maybe in like 5 minutes, right? But right now they might be stronger. So in solo queue, in cases like this, no one's too quite ahead, and I might need a little bit of power around level 7 and 8, to fight for Dragon or the second grubs. I'm probably just going to go for the Eclipse. Okay? Here, let's go. Here's what I mean by, like, you can get away with just playing a pretty easy version of, Oh, okay. Well, that was really easy. I was going to say, because I envisioned him running away, I thought I was going to have to, like, Q to the minion, jump behind him, and then kick him, you know what I mean? Very simple mechanic. I might be able to just do it here, yeah. Alright, I'll just kick flash. His flash put him where my ward was. I could have just queued and then followed, wait for his flash. So if he flashes early, my Q would follow the flash, and if he flashes later, my ward jump would put me in the same distance anyway. I can maybe kill here. Shit. I have to jump way early. Killed me. Nice. Ooh, I don't have enough yet. I wasted a little bit of time there. After getting the kill, I probably should have just backed immediately and then purchased pickaxe. Now I can't fight the grubs with full power here. This kind of sucks. Sucks a little bit. I'll maybe play behind. I know the Ivern's still there, clearing. Yo, what? What? You should have fought the guy. Push. Just push the wave. I fear the Ivern. Oh. I'm not sure why he didn't just fight the guy. Push, man. Push, dude. Push. Push the fucking wave. Dude. Let's go. I'm not sure how that was so difficult. Okay. Well, anyways, we can actually just get the Sunrise guy straight up. Nice, I'm down for that. If I can, I will obviously buy the more expensive item. And it gives a different set of stats. But, oh, whoa. The Jinx, the Jinx rocket. Yeah. So using this kind of logic of like, you know, if I'm sitting on call fields and I haven't, you know, purchased anything that commits me to one side or the other, as in if I haven't purchased the pickaxe already, I have the choice of immediately buying the Eclipse or immediately buying the Thunder Sky based on the money. If I can buy Thunder Sky, I probably would. But if I can't buy Thunder Sky, but I can buy Eclipse, I would build it or I would buy it purely based on the circumstance. Mostly because you're building both anyway. And it's like, there is value in building one immediately because you might need it immediately. See if we need a fight here. I can maybe war jump over. Oh, he ghosted, eh? Okay. They're gone. That's fine. Yeah, that's just my experience in solo queue. It's like, shit, I have to get out of base now, and if I have enough money, I'm probably just gonna build this. But obviously, when it comes to stats, we're gonna love Thunder Sky a ton more, right? 450 HP just by itself. You want to think of it this way: it's not just 450 HP. That's like you living longer, so that you can proc more, or use like an extra Q, an extra E, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Now the trade-off is like 2580 or so, right? But you're probably gonna get a lot more value out of Thunder Sky. I guess the general takeaway that I'd like everyone to have here, because like it's convoluted thinking about like, oh, but this nuance, blah blah blah. It's just in general, hold on. In general, there are going to be a lot of overlap cases, meaning in this situation, Eclipse could have helped. In this situation, in the same exact situation, Thunder Sky also could have helped. Now, trying to measure out which one would have helped more would depend on a ton of different things, right? But it's important to understand that that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be like certain Twitter analysts and be like, yeah, in this exact moment, you know, we should be looking at this and therefore this is proper and therefore you're bad at the game because you didn't do this. Obviously, if you're thinking about it from a purely logical point of view, you know, that would be the way to approach it. Now, I've realized that in favor of, I feel like this is a trap that like most dudes on the internet fall into, in favor of being perfectly optimal, considering every single little thing, we could all afford to be, we want to take like the stick a little bit out of our ass, just a little bit out, you know? Might feel good, might feel bad, I don't know, up to you. And just shut the fuck up. And just shut the fuck up like a little, like just a little bit, you know? Now, some people have certain afflictions, certain like mental conditions that don't necessarily allow them to separate, let's say, you know, what is technically correct from like what should be said. So unfortunately, a lot of people view it to be like, I mean, if it's correct, then, you know, you absolutely have to say it, you know. But oftentimes you'll find that people will like you more if you don't do that like every turn or at every turn. Okay, so I will make it very simple and just say, yo, you can do both. Ideally, you know, you would want to favor this one over that one, right? Oh, I tried to dodge the ulti for a sec. Let me shield you, buddy. I tried to kick the Zillion into the guy. Nice. He CC'd himself by going into the double bomb. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab this. You guys can get the tower. You're fine. It's not first tower anyway. First tower's already taken. So let's just go with that, okay? I mean, a lot of you guys are a lot more reasonable human beings. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if my audience skews more towards like the logic cell, like have to be right, have to math, 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 math. I mean, it's not like it's mutually exclusive. You could totally be a math, math, math guy, but also sit there and be like, oh, but like in this case, it hardly matters. Who cares, right? I think the older audience, the more mature audience, tends to be able to sit there and go, doesn't matter that much, eh? You know, whatever, right? But then there's also the audience of like pro player wannabes of like 16, 17-year-olds that fancy themselves to be like wannabe or like temporary noobs, and like they're gonna be pros at some point. So they're like, oh, I must think of it this way. Most of the time, it's for like a purpose. It's like to kind of drive home, or sorry, to excuse like their lack of like emotional intelligence. I'll give you a good example, right? Like if someone criticizes a build, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, in the context of a video game, the most important thing is whether or not you're winning the video game. It's like, yeah, I mean, like it's one of the more important ones for sure, but like to the point where you might like shit or be an asshole, right? Like especially over like a build, you know, it's like, yeah, some builds are bad. Of course, a lot of builds are bad, right? But it's that lack of open mind that, you know, I've had to suffer through. Oh shit. Actually, I should be fine. I'm looking at the Annie. She was gonna cut them off. She's still cutting them off? Okay, she's cutting them off. Go, go, go. Here you go. Oh, that's stunned. Damn. Maybe I kicked the wrong target. It was the only one available. I thought I could hit him into the Jinx too. It's okay. Go ahead and grab this. I think maybe Merchants would be better here. Reason being, there are quite a few stuns, roots, slows, things that I'd probably want to get out of, and I can realistically do something with the tenacity. Now, there's a difference between being in a mobile tank and having tenacity, where if you get stunned by one, you're probably in a position where you're going to get hit by all the other things. So tenacity might not make sense on you, because unless you have like a really important button to hit, like an escape tool, you know, tenacity won't really do much for you. So you have to think about the context in which you're using tenacity. So if I get stunned by like Pantheon W or hit by like a zillion bomb somehow, I hope I could get out of it fast enough so I could ward jump away, right? I'm almost always gonna have my W, right? W to you first. Oh, 1200! It hit it above the smite cap. I swear it was 1200 like 40 or something. I would have had to smite it early. Okay, well, at least I have smite for this. Fuck. 1200. I'd have to look at the replay. I swear it hit it at, like, I saw 1-2. And I was waiting for it to go a tiny bit below that. Damn. That's sick. That's sick. That's a good steal from him. Yeah, hopefully you guys understand this talk. Okay, well, let's go back to the build. Right, these two items, super powerful, man. Like, you're getting... It's super easy to activate. Lee Sin likes to go melee anyway, right? A lot of value there. And from here, all you need to do is build 80 haste HP. Very simple. And if you really into, if you're a cheeser like me, I love playing defensive. I love building like defensive items like Spirit Visage, right? Especially when they have, what's it called? AP Iron for some reason, and then Orianna, right? It's not like they're the hardest hitting AP users, but they definitely hit hard. Hard enough, we could say. We should be looking for some MR. Because you think of it this way, the MR makes it so that every point of HP matters more. And then every point of HP that we save is extra duration in a fight where we could potentially cycle back to an Eclipse cooldown, a Sundered Sky cooldown, right? So I enjoy, let's say, discussing these kinds of things in video games. And this is the exact sort of like logic cell attitude where like you want to be looking at things through numbers. This kind of trap that people get into. You want to remember at the end of the day, I don't actually care too much to the point where I'm just gonna fucking commit. I'm gonna choose one direction. Let's go. Let's just commit. You might flash past me. Let's see. I step back just in case. Chill. Chill, we could take it slow. We could take it nice and slow. Nice and slow. You see? Low skill floor. Nothing I did there was impressive. Just walk up, kick, Q, right? Very simple. CC is very OP in video games, man. Making someone stand still for like a second, OP. That guy got hit by a rocket after typing ND, bro. Don't BM. Unless you're willing to take the consequences. Let's farm a bit. Yeah, so I see a lot of people tech the third item as like Black Cleaver. You know, that's totally fine. All the stats you would want. But, you know, oftentimes when you're ahead, one thing that you can do to make sure you stay ahead, right? Make it, or more importantly, make it harder to fall behind or harder to give up the lead. You should build defensive, right? The idea there is if you are already ahead of them in terms of damage, and I am, right? Like my champion's just going to kill most champions that I fight, assuming I don't mess up like very, very simple mechanics. Because I can already kill them faster than they can kill me, instead of building so I can kill them faster, I can just build so that they have a harder time killing me, right? Make it so that they kill me slower, right? The reason why there's like an actual functional difference between the two is because in a 1 versus 3 scenario, having more damage doesn't always make more of a difference than being harder to kill, okay? Being harder to kill in a 1v3 makes it so that if you have to tank out for your team, or if you're trying to kill that one person and get out, right? You might not do as much damage, but that extra survivability goes back to exactly the thing that I talked about, where it's like a little bit longer duration of survivability. Maybe it gets you one more Q, maybe it gets you one more Eclipse. You know, just things like that. Wait, why did we Q? Gets you things like that, okay? So, highly important concept to understand, because some champions benefit a lot more from building straight damage. Let's say you have a champion whose full combo has a ratio of 290% AP, right? Pretty bonkers, right? So you maybe you would want to build AP. But what if that 290% AP ratio came in the form of abilities that are very difficult to land? As in, it is just, okay, this is bad. This is really bad. This is extremely, extremely, extremely bad. We got the TP for free. Just go for the dragon. Right. We shouldn't make this mistake. I know better than to make that mistake. Let's just do this instead. They can't do the Baron too easily. They don't have as much damage. Only really Jinx. And we can't do the Baron easily as well. We have a tough time. Wait Karma. Wait Karma and wait me. Are we... Wait, what the fuck? We started this? I assumed that the opponents would contest, so I didn't think to start this at all. I really didn't. The opponents are 5-man missing, and not on the Baron. Let's do the side first. Do the sides. Okay, what was I saying? Right, so in a case where, like, if you're guaranteed to hit maybe 200% of your AP, then maybe build that AP, you know? Maybe that's fine. There aren't too many guaranteed abilities, but if it's like more likely than others, right? And or like maybe the way your team comp plays makes it so that it's easy. Like let's say an Orianna ball on a Nocturne R, you just ball the Nocturne, he flies in, you press the R early, you're hitting that on like everyone. Yeah, probably build all AP, right? Probably. So that makes a ton of sense, and maybe not tank, but you can see how there's so many different reasons as to why you might want to or might not want to. So we're going to do the simplify thing again, where we don't sit there and try to like do, you know, every single, do the calculus for every single thing. Let me help our buddy. He might flash over, so I'll put the ward early. What the hell is this? What? Okay. Alright, let's just do the Baron now. Let's simplify it. Typically... Oh, I want to ward jump off of these guys. Kill this guy. Shitter. Typically, if you are ahead, it would benefit you more to build defensively. Okay? Let's say you're 2-item mage, and you're like 5-0. Okay, you do a fuck ton of damage. Let's say you're Syndra. You could just build more damage. You could. But building a Banshees, building a Ingenious, it doesn't really hurt your damage so much to the point where the defensive value of like negating one crucial ability. Let's say they have like Elise Cocoon, right? You're scared of Flash Elise Cocoon. Maybe not so much, right? Or maybe a Nautilus R, right? A Nautilus R is a huge one. Or Flash Malzahar ulti. You're like, okay, should I build Banshees here? Well, maybe they don't have too many poke champions, and I feel like I could realistically keep the Banshees up. You're probably not building Banshees against like Jace or fucking like Zoe or anyone that has like a long range hit, maybe a Hui, right? Maybe not Banshees, right? Unless I'm very confident in my ability to dodge. But even then, maybe I go Johnny's, you know? Like, okay, Nautilus ulties me, I Johnny's, like, that sounds good, like, you know? But then the other perspective is, oh, I can go Deathcap here. Why should I go Johnny's? I can just one-tap someone. It's like, well, you probably could have one-tapped them already. If you're like 7-0 and you're like way further ahead, maybe a Johnny's, you know? It's this kind of thinking that would help a lot of people, where they realize, I don't have to build damage all the time. I shouldn't build defensive all the time either. It should depend. But as a general rule of thumb, right? If I'm ahead, if I'm very far ahead, build defensive. So, in a case like this, I feel like I'm relatively equal to my opponents, right? It's not like I got like all the money in the world. It was really Talon and the Annie here, especially because they're laners too. And I was just kind of like, you know, middle of the pack. So, especially in the case where I'm middle of the pack, I think, does my damage matter? We have so many damage threats. Annie, Talon, Ezreal, even Karma does a ton of damage, right? Do I need to be a damage threat? Or maybe should I just be tanky so I can jump forward and like do something? Ouch. I would like to kick here. Right, because what's my purpose here? Am I to 1v9 solo carry? Or am I to kick important carries? What would help me in both cases, right? Well, defensive would help me survive if I were to go forward, and maybe be more of a threat, more of a pressure sponge, so that my teammates can do damage. Or maybe my teammates picked like Lulu top or something, and Karma bottom, and like maybe a tank mid, and it's like, okay, well, we need damage, maybe I should build damage. Let's just shield them early. Nice, nice, nice. So hopefully that's a healthy discussion for you to have with yourself and think about like, oh yeah, you know, like why am I building what I'm building? You know, what's it used for, right? Like most people would build a Black Cleaver here and they'd be like, yeah, it's Black Cleaver because I shred armor. Dude, if I somehow hit someone like 5 times with Black Cleaver and shred them, I feel like they're dead already. You know, like in what case am I using it? Like if I'm using it for a teammate and a teammate is hitting the opponent that I'm hitting, if I end up hitting the opponent 5 times, I feel like it's a situation where they're either stuck, right, or like, you know, maybe they're making a mistake, you know, and if my teammate's there as well, they're probably dead no matter what. I don't even need Black Cleaver to kill them, right? So that's why Black Cleaver might be a bit of a trap item. If you're playing a solo lane and you're splitting and you only can rely on yourself for the pen, then yeah, I can definitely see that. Let's see if this guy is... No, okay. You know what I mean? So some stats look good. Some stats look very appealing. Like I said earlier, HP, ability haste, and health. You know, these are all appealing stats, but sometimes other stats can be more important, right? Like resistances. So having, like, even getting off of 50 resistance, like getting off of base resistance is very, very powerful. Okay? I don't want to try to explain all the math right now, but, oh, maybe I can kick this guy. I can get one hit in. Sorry. I honestly thought that they were ready for that. I swear I saw someone right here. Maybe it was the Talon, maybe it was Ezreal. I saw them right here. My bad. It just looked like a good opportunity. He was holding our wave. He was a little bit further out. If he was like here, I obviously wouldn't go for that. But he was here, right? I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I'll try to kick him. If I kicked him further off the wall and not along the wall, it would have been better. Should be kills. Maybe a one tap right here. Oh, Jesus. Ouch. Ouchies. You needed to put a little bit more effort into dodging. Alright, let's get some armor here. This guy's got the IE. I'm going to build Randuin's. It's going to make it so much harder for him to kill me. And the Pantheon's damage. Okay, let's just go get this. But yeah, I guess I'll give like a really simple primer. It's actually really good to explain it in terms of wardens. Wardens in TFT, I think they go from 10% damage reduction, ignoring the start of combat, 10% damage reduction to 25% damage reduction is a huge amount. It's a ridiculously huge amount. Ah, I'm gonna die in the same way. No, I was looking for a chance there. Because now instead of taking off, 1 in 10 hits, you're taking off 1 in 5, right? Like, even though the difference between the two percentages, 10% and 25, is only 15%, you think, oh, I'm only reducing 15% more damage. That's not actually the case, right? Because it's a percent damage reduction. So when you're at, like, let's say 47%, yeah. So base MR goes anywhere from 25% to 33% reduction, especially at the start of the game. But oh, what the fuck? It visually appeared. But you'll see here, right? This is going from 33% to 50% is huge. A third to a half. Huge. Absolutely bonkers, right? Especially for the cost, right? Even just building a Spectre's Cowl, 1250, or even just building a nullifying cloak, or a nullifying cloak? Or Negatron cloak, sorry. 900 gold. This already puts you into like tank territory, dude. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. That's why, like, when you think of ninja tabbies, or if you're new, plated steel caps reducing 12% of attacks. you think that's not as much, right? But that is huge. Now, obviously, there's a fundamental difference between armor and MR. Armor is the better stat because, just to really put it really simply, typically magic damage comes in the form of abilities that you could dodge easily, while attacks also have spells that you could dodge, yes, but also auto attacks are, for the most part, undodgeable, at least relative to abilities, okay? So that's why armor tends to be a little bit more useful than MR. So if you're a tank, unless you're playing against like 3 APs and you're like almost guaranteed to get hit, you probably don't want to build as much. That's why against like mages or like champions that I know that will have limited amount of abilities to fire, unlike a Cassiopeia that's just like rapid fire, right? Let's say a mage that has like a one dump combo like a Syndra, I might not build as much MR against, simply because I'm probably not going to be their target. I could try to bait their target and build a bit of MR, let's say 100 MR, but I'm not going to build like 200 MR, right? Because if I don't expect them to bother to hit me, then it's like, I probably don't need it. But I will get auto-attacked by anyone. Hey, fuck you, dude. You're hitting me all day? Fuck you. So that's why armor tends to be a little bit better. But just put it simply, getting off of base armor or MR, getting even like a little bit of armor MR is huge. And the higher you go up, so going from like 50% reduction to 66% reduction, even though it's only 16%, you have to think about it in terms of like the actual percentage of like what you're taking off every successive hit. Like, you're going to get so much more value. So do not ignore building defensive later into your build. Do not ignore that. Don't always build it. Don't never build it. Just hopefully this is a good primer for anyone that's new, anyone that's coming up in the game. I keep getting messages about like, I watched you when I was platinum. Like, it's showing my age, really. People are like, I watched you when I was platinum. Now I'm masters. I'm like, oh yeah, hello. Right? I'm old. I get it. For those players that are going to come into my game, I hope one day they quote this video and say, you changed my way of thinking when it comes to damage. I don't need to build full damage. Sometimes I can build, a little bit of armor here, right? Even a Death Stance. Death Stance is a super nice tech item, right? If you have to play against like 280 champions and you're 1v1 on them, you're melee. Let's say it's like a Rengar and they have like a Darius. It's like, oh, armor might not help as much as you think, but like it could stall you a little bit longer for one extra thing. Depends on the game, blah, blah, blah. Don't just be like, I need to build damage. Okay, enjoy. Peace.